everybody. Come on. Your story hour's on.
Welcome to Your Story Hour. I'm Aunt Nikki.
And I'm Uncle John, and we're here to bring you today's
Inspiring Story. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're always glad to get together with you.
So true, Aunt Nikki, so true.
Uncle John, I think everyone will be especially interested in today's story.
Oh, what's especially interesting about this one?
Well, let me put it like this. Have you ever said to yourself, I will never, ever do something? Like maybe that you'd never work in a hospital because you always faint at the sight of blood?
Let me think. Okay, sure. I remember when I was a boy, I told my mother that I'd never, ever clean my room again because...
Okay, now, Uncle John, be serious. You probably never wanted to take out the trash either, right?
Right. Of course, my mother wasn't quite on board with that either. You know what I mean.
I can imagine. But Aunt Carol's story today is about someone who really did say that she would never, never, never do something.
Really?
Yes. That's why today's story is called Never, Never, Never. As our story begins, the Scudder family is seated around the dinner table, all 8 of them, and as they pass the dishes of rice and curry from one to the other, the heat of the street outside seems to press in upon them. There, just beyond, eddies of red dust swirl up from the many feet scurrying past in a tangle of activity. The sights, sounds, and smells of Vellore, India are ever present, and yet are very commonplace to the Scudders who have India in their blood. Their father, John, a mission doctor and pastor, is the son of Dr. John Scudder I, and the children who are now gathered around the dinner table, Ida, the youngest and the only girl, along with her 5 older brothers, John, Louis, Henry, also known as Harry, Charlie, and Walter, are accustomed to hearing the story of their grandfather John's pilgrimage to this country, located halfway around the world from his original home in New York City. In fact, they each know the story by heart.
So, as you all know, children, your grandfather was the very first medical missionary to India.
But first he went to Ceylon.
That's right, John. Sophia, dear, could you please pass the rice?
Here you are, dear. And children, your father, his uncles and brothers, too, are now part of the Scudder family tradition. Nearly everyone, it seems, becomes a pastor and a doctor like your father. And they all come back here to India to serve.
But, Mommy, I don't want to be a missionary.
Ida, my love, you already are. We all are.
But I'm hot. It's too hot. Yeah, hot and dirty.
Yes, I know, Henry.
Dirty and smelly.
Yeah, Charlie. Maybe you're the smelly one.
Now, Louis, you too, Charlie, settle down. Besides, all you have to do is go outside and take a deep breath right underneath the big tamarind tree. Now that smells wonderful.
That it does. And you can almost always catch the scent of incense somewhere along the busy streets.
But almost everything else smells bad.
Well, we're not here for our own pleasure, Walter.
Yeah, I know.
We're here to help. And in that, we take our greatest pleasure. So, Ida, in the morning I have a job for you, a very important job.
You do?
Yes. You'll be helping your mother and me. Oh, did the supplies arrive today from Madras, my dear?
All here and ready to go.
Then tomorrow morning, little one, you'll be our #1 assistant.
The next morning, Ida's eyes widened in surprise as she watched hundreds of children being herded into a newly built bamboo enclosure at the back of the compound. Soon her father and mother had them all seated neatly in rows, row after row of little waifs with big eyes and wasted bodies. Starving children so weak that some of them couldn't even reach out to take the piece of bread or dollop of rice offered to them as the Scudders passed by, dispensing food from large baskets.
Ida, sweetheart, just put that piece in her mouth. She's too weak to hold it.
Yes, Mommy.
John, my basket is nearly empty.
Give it to Ida, then see if there's any more bread in the kitchen.
All right.
Ida, come here, little one.
Yes, Father. What does it mean, Posse? What are they saying?
Posse means hungry. Oh, wait. Be sure to give just one piece to each child.
But they're all so skinny.
Yes, Ida, it's the famine. There's been no rain for 2 years, and many have already starved to death.
Is it going to rain soon so they can have food?
I pray that it will. Until it does, though, you and your mother can help by feeding the children every day.
That's all there is, I'm afraid. We've run out for today.
But what about all
the children we haven't fed yet?
Uh-huh.
I know. Let's break the bread we have left into smaller pieces. It will go farther that way, even if each child won't get as much.
It's all we can do. Tomorrow, though, the ones we haven't fed today, they'll be the very first ones we feed in the morning.
In fact, the famine lasted nearly 3 years in total, and more than 3 million people died from lack of food. The sight of those starving children never left Ida, contributing to her ever-growing dislike of India. However, since she had been born there, it was all she had really ever known, except, of course, for the stories of home in the United States that she heard from her parents. Then in 1878, hoping that a furlough to the States could restore him to health after 16 years of overwork in the mission field, her father, John Scudder, loaded the family onto a ship bound for America. Ida, who is now about 7 years old, was eager to see what the United States was like. And when they landed at New York, a few surprises awaited her.
Mommy, nobody looks hungry here. In America, there must be enough food for everyone. Father, look. Lots of other people have blue eyes just like me.
Yes, and blonde hair just like yours, too.
And when the family traveled to Nebraska to live on a farm, Ida reveled in the clean, open air and beautiful scenery. She loved everything about it. The sweet smell of the fields, the friendly farm animals. She loved her school where there were no hungry children, and she loved mischief. There was hardly a prank among her schoolmates in which she was not the ringleader. Life was so good, so wonderful. And as the years slipped by, her resolve to never return to India grew stronger and stronger. So naturally, when she was 12 years old and her father made an announcement, she was, to say the least, very upset.
No, Father, please.
But Ida, I must go back and see if my health has returned to the point that I can bear the heat of India. That's where the Scudders belong. India is our mission field. I'll go alone at first, and then, if all goes well...
No, Father, please, please, don't go.
But Father did go. And 2 years later, when Ida was 14, her mother also went, leaving Ida and the other children with relatives so they could continue their education in the States. Ida was devastated on the day of her mother's departure, and that night wept into her mother's pillow.
I hate India. I don't know why. Everybody thinks they have to go there. Oh, Marmee, I already miss you so much.
Then, when Ida's Uncle Henry and Aunt Fanny, with whom she was staying, left for the mission field themselves, Ida was sent to a seminary in Northfield, Massachusetts. She loved being with girls her own age and formed close friendships with several girls, including Florence Updike, whose nickname was Spook, and Annie Hancock, who was, perhaps, the most religious of the group. Once again, you-know-who was ringleader of all the pranks, and Ida risked being expelled on several occasions for getting into mischief. As graduation approached, however, she began to worry.
Well, it's another letter from my folks.
They expect you to go back to India, don't they, Ida?
Yes, Spook, and I'm not going. I'm never going back there.
Why not?
Because, Annie, I like it here much, much better. You can walk down the street in good clothes without having them covered in red dust and sweat.
But everyone in your family has
Well, all my friends are here. It's fun, and it's wonderful, and I'm staying.
Good.
Just listen to what they wrote. We are in the midst of our hot weather, and it is fearful.
Sounds awful.
The air is full of moisture, and consequently, we are reeking sweat most of the time.
Such a lovely place.
You have no idea.
But then one day a telegram arrived. Ida knew the news could not be good.
Oh, spook.
Ida, what is it?
It's Mother. It says, "Come immediately. Your mother ill and needs you."
Oh, no. Ida, you have to go.
I know. Oh, poor Mother. My poor Marmee.
We'll never see you again.
Oh, yes, you will. I may have to go, but I'm coming back. I will not stay there.
Yes, you will. You'll go to India and end up as a missionary, just like all the other Scudders.
Don't you dare say I'll be a missionary. I'll never be a missionary. I will never be a missionary. Never, never, never.
You're right, Aunt Nikki. The person in today's story did say that she would never, never, never do something. But what I find most astonishing is that what Ida said she would never do was become a missionary.
Right, Uncle John. I've always thought that becoming a missionary is a wonderful ambition.
Same here, which is one reason why you and I are so passionate about your Story Hour's mission, making the boys and girls of today better men and women for tomorrow.
Absolutely. We love Jesus.
And we love all of you boys and girls.
And so we can't think of anything better than helping you become friends with Jesus through our exciting stories and Bible studies.
That's why we provide our programming to radio stations around the world for free.
Yes, and we're able to do this because of wonderful people like you who partner with us in our ministry.
That's right. The generous support of our faithful donors keeps your Story Hour on thousands of radio stations every week.
So to all of you moms and dads out there who believe in the power of storytelling to shape lives, we ask you to support our ministry.
Whether your gift is big or small, or even whether you're young or old, we know that God will use your gift in miraculous ways. It's easy to donate over the phone by calling 1-800-987-7879. That's 1-800-987-7879.
Or you can donate on our website at yourstoryhour.org. Just go to www.yourstoryhour.org.
Or if you prefer, you can mail your gift to Your Story Hour, P.O. Box 8, Niles, Michigan, 49120. That's P.O. Box 8, Niles, spelled Niles, Michigan, 49120.
We want to thank you in advance for your gift of love. But before you get too impatient, let's return to our story. Never, never, never.
Soon Ida, along with her brother Henry, who accompanied her, sailed to Madras, India, where they were met by their father, Dr. John. It was a shock for Ida to see that her father's dark hair and beard had turned white in the 8 years since they'd seen him. From there, they all traveled by train and then by ox cart to the town of Tindivanam, where her parents now lived. Their home consisted of 3 rooms, all in a row, that were connected by means of a porch. It was topped by a thatched roof full of white ants that sometimes fell from their lofty heights onto the heads of those below. Ida's mother was delighted to have her daughter near once again.
Oh, Ida, it's so good to have you here. Your father is away so much of the time, and for the last 3 months, I haven't really seen anyone that I can talk to in English.
While her mother recovered, Ida assumed all her household and teaching duties, not only for their own family, but also for the school that Dr. John had founded. Henry helped by relieving his father of the administrative management of the school, which was attended by nearly 100 boys, to allow his father more freedom to travel. And soon, with Ida's help, her mother began to improve.
You know, Ida, I'm feeling much better thanks to your company and everything you've done. So, now...
What is it, Marmee?
Well, I was thinking that you might like to accompany your father on his visitation rounds to the outlying villages.
Oh?
Of course, sometimes your Uncle Jared teams up with him, and during the upcoming evangelistic tour, your cousin Dixie will be going along too. Even so, I'm sure your father could use your help.
Jared Scudder was Dr. John's brother, and he too was a pastor and a doctor. Upon reaching one of the villages, they would preach first, and then, spreading a white sheet out on the ground, they would conduct an open-air clinic, examining patients and often operating on the villagers by lantern light into the night. Ida became aware, however, that it was the men of the village who presented themselves, although sometimes they did ask for help on behalf of their wives or daughters.
Dr. John, my wife, she is very ill, very hot to the touch.
Does her fever come and go?
Oh, no, Dr. John, she is very hot all the time, in much pain.
If I could see her, then I could help.
That is not possible, Dr. John. Please, you have some medicine?
Well, there isn't much I can do for her, unless I can see her.
No, just please, something to help.
All right, then. Give her this. 2 drops in the morning, 2 drops at night. But if I could see her...
Oh, thank you, Dr. John. I will go now. Thank you.
Father, why didn't he let you go see his wife?
Because it's against his religion.
Against his religion? But how? Why?
It's one of the most difficult things for me, Ida. The Muslims and Hindus and some of the other religions here in India all have rules about who their wives can see. Sometimes their wives are not allowed outside of the family compound, and all too often they are confined to a single room within the walls.
It almost sounds like they are prisoners.
Yes. And no man, other than their husband and other family members, are allowed to see them. So even if they are very ill, since I am a man...
But you're a doctor.
A male doctor. So I am not allowed to examine them or even see them, except...
Except what?
I've taken the pulse of a woman, several, I guess, over the years, who could extend her arm through an opening in the wall of her compound.
Her pulse?
Yes. And sometimes I could also tell if any of them might be running a fever.
But that isn't enough to go on. Their pulse, their temperature.
How well I know, Ida, my dear. Many of them have died because
Because you were forbidden to see them.
Yes, I'm afraid so. I've learned to do what I can do and let the rest go. And as you might imagine, it's the only way I can handle so many tragedies.
Ida could hardly wait to leave this dreadful place. It was such a different world from what she had grown to love back in the States. So when they returned home to Tindivanam from their evangelistic tour, she was delighted to discover that a letter awaited her from her school friend, Annie Hancock. She ripped it open and eagerly began to read. All too soon, however, Ida began to shake her head. Annie was asking questions about Ida's work in India and imagining how wonderful it must be.
She says I must be blessed to be able to spread light and truth to places of darkness and ignorance. Oh, Annie, I should have known that you would say that. But if you were here... Well, knowing you, you'd probably agree with my cousin Dixie. She's my favorite cousin, but she wants to go to the worst places she can find, live in a tent, and teach.
Soon Ida was at her desk, pen in hand, writing back to Annie.
It's late at night, and the compound is so quiet. Late, yes, and yet Father is still up working in his study and... Oh, Annie, you say you wish you could be a missionary like me, but don't say that. I am not a missionary and never will be. But you're not like me. You... What was that? I think I heard someone outside in the yard. I'll just take a look. Oh, I know him. A respected man here in Tintivanam. a Brahmin and a member of a very high caste. Hello there. Can I help you?
Oh, yes, please, Missy. It is my wife. She is dying.
Dying?
Yes, in childbirth. She is so young, only 14, and so beautiful. But the barber woman, the woman who helps women with such things, she says she cannot save her. She says she must die. But you are from America. I heard you can help.
Oh, but I'm so sorry. I don't know anything about...
Please help her. Please.
Let me get my father. He is a doctor and
Take a man into my house to see my wife? No Brahmin lets another man even see his wife's face. But to help her in childbirth, never.
But your wife, you said she's dying. My father is a doctor and
No, it is you I come to get.
Me? But I can't,
Then you will not come.
I wouldn't know what to do. I have no training. I'm so sorry.
Then she must die. It is better for her to die. I go now. I am sorry to bother you.
But wait! He's just walking away. Why would he do that? Just let his wife die. How can he be so selfish?
Ida, my child.
Oh, Father, his wife. She's going to die. He refused to let you...
I know, but we must respect him for
Respect him? For letting his wife die?
Respect him for following his beliefs. And when there is nothing we can do to help, then it is the better part of wisdom to forget. Remember what I told you?
I remember.
When we cannot help, we must forget. We must concentrate on those who can be helped.
Still shaking with frustration, Ida returned to her room and began writing to Annie once more. She had barely begun, however, when she heard another noise on the porch. Thinking the Brahmin man had had a change of heart, she rushed to her door.
Hello.
Salam, madame.
Oh, I'm so glad you've come back.
May Allah give you peace.
But you're not...
I am in great need. I have come to you for help.
You're not who I thought you were. What is it?
Please forgive me for troubling you, but...
How can I help?
It is my wife. She is having such a hard time. We have other children, but this time the baby does not come, even after many hours. There is no one to help. Please, she is dying.
Wait right there. I'll be right back. Here, this is my father. He is a doctor. He can help you.
Oh, no. You do not understand. Only the men of her family must enter her apartment. I came for you, a woman. Please.
But I can't. I don't know how. But I'll come with him. He can tell me what to do.
I'll be happy to come, sir, if you...
No. I am sorry. It is not possible. She must die. It is the will of Allah.
But wait!
It's no use, Ida.
I would have been glad to help him, Father, but
Ida, my love. Come, there is nothing either of us can do.
Returning to her letter, Ida hastily wrote of the night's sad events and then penned these words.
You can see now, Annie, why you wouldn't like to be a missionary, especially in India. You'd simply hate it.
And then suddenly she heard a voice.
Hello? Missy, hello?
Ida arose from her desk, went once more to the door, and there found the father of one of her favorite students at the Hindu girls' school.
Srimadal, it's you, Kamla's father.
Please, Missy, you must come to my house.
Kamla, she's all right. She isn't sick. She hasn't had an accident.
No, Missy, Kamla, she is fine.
It's not your wife. I know she was about to have a baby.
Yes, my wife. Oh, please, I kneel before you.
No, don't do that.
Please come, or my wife, she will die.
But it would do no good, don't you see? I have no training. I don't know about babies. Your wife needs my father. He can help her. She doesn't need to die.
You don't understand, Missy. No other man...
Please stand, Srimadal. Please let my father...
I will stand. I go now, Missy.
I apologize for bothering you so late.
I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can do.
And so, in less than an hour's time, 3 men had come to Ida and begged for help which she had no training to give. Exhausted and completely upset from her ordeal, Ida quickly got ready for bed and crawled between the sheets. But sleep wouldn't come. All through that awful night, Ida tossed and turned and tossed some more. What would happen to these women, one of whom was a mere girl? And what could she do about it anyway? She had no medical training. How could these men deny their wives the help they needed? Her father was a doctor, after all. How could they just let them die? When morning broke, Ida heard the dreaded drumbeat of a funeral procession. She sprang from bed and called to one of the servants.
Sorry.
Yes, Missy, you called?
Please, see if you can find out about the funeral. See if you can find out who died.
Yes, Missy, right away.
Soon Sori returned with the sad news.
There is not one funeral, but 3.
3? It can't be. Not the wives of the men who came here last night.
Yes, Missy, all 3 are dead.
Ida fled back to her bedroom. Could it really be? All 3? But what? What was it her father said? If there is nothing we can do, then... But wait, there was something she could do. But it would mean... Yes, it would mean...
It means giving up everything I've ever wanted. The nice clothes, the parties, the fun, living in America for the rest of my life. Everything. But God, if you want me to, I will do it.
And not losing another minute, she threw on her clothes, found her father, and announced,
Father, guess what? As soon as Mother has completely recovered, I'm going back to America, and I'm going to study medicine. I'm going to become a doctor, and I'm coming back to India to help the women and babies.
Well, Aunt Nikki, who would have ever thought that someone so set on not doing something could change their mind so completely?
I know.
It's encouraging, though, to see that someone can change the course of his or her life.
Yes, it is.
I know. It's a shame, but we're out of time for today. I hope that all of you can join us next time.
Until then, we hope that you stay happy and healthy, and may God richly bless you.